Did you know that by age 20, the average person knows about 42,000 words, but will only learn 6,000 more in the next 40 years? Today, we're diving into the world of difficult English words, those linguistic mountains that can make even native speakers stumble. We'll explore why these words matter, how to master them, and the surprising benefits of expanding your vocabulary. And joining us to help decode these verbal mysteries is our resident language expert.
You know, it's fascinating how we categorize words as difficult. It's not just about length or complexity. Sometimes it's about unfamiliarity or those tricky silent letters that make spelling a nightmare.
Like colonel being pronounced colonel, that one always trips people up.
Exactly. And pronunciation is just one aspect. Some words are considered difficult because they have abstract or complex meanings that aren't immediately obvious.
Can you give us an example?
Take the word ephemeral. It means lasting for a very short time. But understanding its full meaning requires grasping the concept of impermanence.
Ah, like a Snapchat message, totally ephemeral.
Perfect example. And speaking of interesting words, let me share one of my favorites, defenestration.
That sounds intense. What does it mean?
It specifically means the act of throwing someone out of a window. It's fascinating how we have such a specific word for that particular action.
Wait, we have a word just for that? That's oddly specific.
It is. And that brings up an interesting point about vocabulary. Sometimes words exist because they describe very specific situations or concepts that were historically important.
Let's talk about some other challenging words. What are some that people often struggle with?
Well, pulchritudinous is a good example. It simply means beautiful, but its complexity makes it rarely used in everyday speech.
That's like using a sledgehammer to crack a nut.
Exactly. Or take cacophony, a harsh mixture of sounds. It's actually quite onomatopoeic when you think about it.
You know what's interesting? These words remind me of that scene in Austin Powers where Dr. Evil demands $1 million, and everyone laughs because it seems so small now.
That's a clever observation. Words and their perceived value or impact do change over time.
Speaking of impact, what are the benefits of learning these more challenging words?
According to recent research, learning difficult words actually enhances cognitive function. It's like a workout for your brain.
Really? How so?
Well, when you learn complex words, you're not just memorizing, you're creating new neural pathways, improving your ability to understand abstract concepts.
But isn't there a risk of sounding pretentious if you use these big words?
That's a common concern, but it's all about context. Using the right word at the right time actually makes you more precise and effective in communication.
I guess it's like having a bigger toolbox. You don't need to use every tool for every job.
Precisely. And studies show that people who engage with complex vocabulary often display higher emotional intelligence.
That's surprising. Why would vocabulary affect emotional intelligence?
Because having more words at your disposal means you can express emotions and ideas with greater nuance and precision.
Like the difference between saying you're angry versus indignant or exasperated?
Exactly. Each of those words carries a slightly different shade of meaning.
Let's share some more interesting, difficult words with our listeners.
Quixotic is a fascinating one. It means idealistic or unrealistic, derived from Don Quixote.
Oh, like tilting at windmills.
Precisely. Or ineffable, something so extreme it can't be expressed in words.
Isn't it ironic that we have a word for something that can't be put into words?
Language is full of such beautiful paradoxes. Here's another good one. Sesquipedalian, which means characterized by long words.
So it's a long word that means long words? That's meta.
And lachrymose, meaning tearful or given to weeping. It's from the Latin word for tear.
These words really do tell stories, don't they?
They do. Each one is like a little piece of history or human experience captured in language.
What's your advice for someone who wants to expand their vocabulary?
Start with words that genuinely interest you. Don't try to memorize a list. Learn words in context, through reading or conversation.
And I suppose using them in sentences helps too?
Absolutely. Active use is key to retention. Try to incorporate new words naturally into your conversations.
Any particular categories of words you'd recommend starting with?
Emotion words are great because they're immediately useful in everyday life. Words like melancholy instead of just sad.
That makes sense. They're practical and add nuance to our expressions.
And don't forget about words that describe actions or states of being, like languish or flourish.
Those are much more evocative than just saying suffer or do well.
Exactly. The right word can paint a whole picture.
What about pronunciation? Any tips for tackling those tricky words?
Break them down into syllables, and don't be afraid to look up audio pronunciations online.
And I suppose it's better to ask than to use a word incorrectly?
Always. There's no shame in double-checking. It shows you care about communication.
You know what's interesting? The more we talk about these words, the less intimidating they seem.
That's exactly the point. They're tools for expression, not obstacles to overcome.
And they can actually make communication clearer, not more complicated.
Precisely. When used appropriately, they help us express exactly what we mean.
Well, as we wrap up, any final words of wisdom for our listeners?
Remember that every difficult word you learn is another color in your communication palette. Use them wisely, and they'll enrich your expression.
And don't be intimidated by them. Every expert was once a beginner.
Exactly. The journey of learning new words never really ends, and that's what makes it exciting.
Remember, every word you learn is a new way to see and describe the world. Until next time, keep expanding your vocabulary one fascinating word at a time.